up your Travis Scott? Fiend. It's WrestleMania week and Stand Deliver week as well. Welcome to Draped and Gold, your one-stop shop for everything going on in the world of wrestling. But today, we're doing something special. My name is Flobo Boyce, and thank you so much for rocking with me. But as always, I'm not alone. I'm being joined by the real Jack Farmer.
Yes. Good to be here. Ready to, as Ricky Sinclair says, dig in. Flobo, I think we have a new catchphrase for the show. Dig in. I'm digging it. How do you feel about Ricky Sinclair's submission for our new catchphrase for Draped in Gold?
I hate that as much as I hate puns. And puns made by a show that I run is even worse because I'll be associated with it forever. So,
well, if you don't like it, you better dig in.
Whatever. But Jack hit the nail on the head. We are digging in on a special night in time. We're thinking about moving the show to evenings, and we will after Mania. But today is a special night, special time. It's Tuesday after 10 p.m., 10:35 on the Eastern Seaboard, 7:35 local time here in Los Angeles, California. How do you feel, Jack, with the nighttime swag?
Right now, I'm feeling good. I'm awake. I got my coffee in. Now, for those of you that know me, I don't drink coffee. I drink decaf, but I drank a lot of decaf, baby, and I am ready to go. It's late at night, but...
Wait, why? Why'd you drink a lot of... I dare you to pee for no reason?
I can't have caffeine, so I just drink 1,000 cups of decaf, and I'm ready to go.
If decaf gets you hyped, maybe you shouldn't have regular calf.
No, but you mentioned it though. Yeah, Ricky Sinclair, just dig in. Everyone in the chat, let us know if you like the catchphrase.
Worse than Scott.
Dig in for Draped in Gold. You know, but you alluded to it. Going forward, we will no longer be a morning show. We are going to be an evening show. Today's Tuesday, but going forward, starting next week, Draped in Gold will dig in on Wednesdays after AEW Dynamite. Now, I want to make it clear, this is not just going to be an AEW show. It just happens to be on after AEW Dynamite. And we're going to do an evening show so we can have more of you in the chat here with us. It's important for people like Mike Wexler and Dudettes X and Chris Bricks in the chat, and Mike Wexler as well.
I hate this, man, because it's past my bedtime. It is 7:30. I am sleepy, all right? I should be curling up with a good book around this hour. It's fine.
When the sun goes down, so does Flobo.
It's true. And in fact, we're going to Vegas, which is a town that doesn't sleep. It's going to wreck my entire night-day rhythm, to be honest.
I'm going to be drinking a lot of decaf.
That doesn't help at all. But you're right, man. It's going to be a decaf-ready holiday. The whole world's already descending to Las Vegas. There's so many different satellite events. There are things we can't afford to be even seen at. And, of course, WrestleMania and Stand and Deliver. Before we get into all the stuff today, I have a question about the whole Vegas thing, right? Like, Vegas makes sense. It's a big city, entertainment capital of the world, but maybe I had a bit of a doom and gloom episode come over me when I was wondering, how could WWE sustain this kind of scale next year in different cities? Saudi Arabia, even.
It's going to be interesting how they're able to do this in a different city because, yeah, wrestling, WWE in particular, once it sets a precedent, it's hard for it to ever move away from it, right? Like, it's going to be weird if next year they do this and it's in whatever city. If it's in Tupelo, Mississippi, you can't. Can you have after parties every single week in Tupelo, Mississippi? I don't know if that works quite the same way as it does in Vegas. Can you have a roast of WrestleMania when you're in Poughkeepsie? I don't know.
Poughkeepsie is worthy of the roast itself, but things I worry about.
But, you know, I guess it depends on what the city is. Is it? Oh, they said it's going to be. Is New Orleans? They already called it, right?
New Orleans is rumored and it probably will be announced this weekend, but nothing's been official.
I mean, New Orleans could probably do it pretty good too, though.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm down with New Orleans. I just wonder having so many different events with this. And I wondered about last week, talking about the price, the ticket prices for these things are been astronomical. Not here to bring up that information, but I was wondering how many events do WWE kind of assumes one person's going to visit, right? Can you go to the Hall of Fame and go to the after party the same night? Are you a wild child, Jack?
I don't think you can mathematically do it. I think you just can't be in more than that many spots. I think they're literally competing with themselves at this wet WrestleMania week in certain cases. And it reminds me, did you see that sign going around from Raw this week where the guy said, "This financially ruined me"?
Yeah. Dude, I'm gonna be paying this off for months.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky. This is going to be a very expensive trip. And WrestleMania is always expensive, but this one is in particular. It's very, but yeah, it'll be interesting. Because I don't even know if New Orleans can handle this many. Do they have the venues for this many events and this many things to do?
I believe so. I don't think they don't think they have a strip, but they can do a lot of things in a lot of conferences. Granted, WWE World would be smaller, probably doing a lot more of a smaller tail of events, but they have the spaces.
Because I mean, I know they got like a great nightlife, but I don't know if they have venues for that many thousands of people to go do stuff as well. That's a different ball game. But I don't know. I mean, I don't remember much of my last trip to New Orleans, so I can't.
All
tell
that
you.
decaf? What the heck are you doing over there? Yeah.
Oh man, I was dancing, baby. That's a dancing town. New Orleans is my favorite city in the world. So
Never been. Some of these things I'll go.
you've never
Okay.
been.
I haven't.
You have to go. I mean, go for Mania maybe, but go not Mania and just go and enjoy the city. It's my favorite visiting city. San Diego's where I want to live someday, but New Orleans, come on, baby, party city, vacation city. Let's go.
Fun fact: San Diego gave you COVID, and you still want to live over there?
But it was a really good COVID.
All right. Listen, whatever. Thanks so much for watching this episode. We're going to break down Stand and Deliver and WrestleMania, the big daddy of them all. But you know what? Why bear the lead? Let's talk about WrestleMania 2 nights, the 41th edition of the Showcase of the Immortals. And well, I was trying to figure out which match I should talk about first, and I went to the X impressions. And even though the WWE Championship will be on the line on what Jack calls the real main event, the one getting the most traction is that triple threat match on Saturday night with no title on the line. CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and your boy Roman Reigns.
Yeah, we're just talking about it? Are we doing the predictions here? We didn't.
No, we're talking about it because everyone's been talking about it. I want to know how you feel about this. Will this steal the show? It's Saturday night. You said Saturday night's inferior to Sunday, but it's the main event.
Yeah, this one looks good. This is going to be a good matchup. This is very interesting. I've loved the build to this. I've loved watching this. These three gentlemen have really shown, four, I guess we should count Paul Heyman in this as well. These four gentlemen know how to make you want to buy a ticket better than just about anybody. I mean, every one of their perspectives, every single promo has been incredible in making me more and more invested in this. And look, I've seen some people say they're not into it. I've seen some people say it should be a one-on-one match, and I get where you're coming from here.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I've bought in. They sold me on this. You know, I'm like that guy watching this. I'm like the guy that goes on the car lot, and I'm like, listen, I need a minivan. I got a family. I need a minivan, something that's good on gas mileage, something that's going to get me to and fro, A to B. That's all I need, something that's reliable. But these guys, these Paul Heyman car salesmen, you know, they show up, they roll up, and they're like, have we got the car for you, Jack Farmer? And they take me over to that 2-seat sports car, the red one without the roof. And I'm like, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for the minivan. That's what's going to be best for me. That's what I need right now. But they're like, why don't you just sit in it for a little bit? And I'm like, fine, I'll sit in it. But I'm telling you, like, why don't we take it for a little whirl? Then I feel the hair, the wind in my hair. I feel the breeze as I'm cruising down the freeway. For some reason, now there's no cars on the road. And I'm driving, and the right song comes on the radio because for some reason, I don't plug in the aux. I turn on the radio. The right song's on. I'm cruising. And suddenly, all these beautiful girls drive up next to me, and they go, hee, and they wave at me. And I'm like, this is great. I park the car, and I'm like, I'm getting it, baby. I know I should get the minivan. But boy, do I really want this sports car of Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns all fighting for Paul Heyman on a pole. Let's go.
I kind of feel like the wife and kids you left at the dealership while you went on this test drive. And we'll get to our predictions of both shows later on, but there's two caveats I have. A bit two of these gripes. One, it is a main event that has no title on the line, and what are the stakes? And two, I understand Paul Heyman's influential, but with all the fanfare 6 months ago about The Rock being involved and other people showing up, is this, dare I say, a step down of WrestleMania's potential for a main event?
Here, there's a lot of stuff that's implied, and I may get let down just like I'm going to be let down when I bring home that sports car and have nowhere to put a baby seat. But I think the implied implication is Paul Heyman. The implied implication is, where does Paul Heyman's loyalties lie, and who's taking Paul Heyman home in that beautiful 2-seater sports car? That's the question. And I think that's what we're trying to look. And I understand that on paper, Paul Heyman doesn't have power. He's not a GM, but he has been portrayed as someone who can get things done, who can make things happen. He pulls up that phone and he talks into it, and things happen. It's portrayed as he's the reason that this is a main event for CM Punk. And so Paul Heyman does have pull. Paul Heyman does have leverage. And even if you just look at the history of main events, Paul Heyman typically is the person in the corner of somebody in the main event of WrestleMania, in the world champion's corner. So I think there is stakes. I think there is a lot on the line. I think, as Seth Rollins said, in a way, the future of WWE is on the line, because whoever has Paul Heyman tends to control the WWE.
You said on the show 5 days prior that the real main event is on Sunday. And the main event, we're going to talk about that match in a second. But the match we're not talking about is Jey Uso versus Gunther. The one for the actual World Heavyweight Championship. Jey Uso won that in the Rumble, which you're supposed to go main event WrestleMania. There's 2 nights to main event, and our World Heavyweight Champion of either gender doesn't get a chance to defend in the main spotlight. I'm just saying, maybe the whole Paul Heyman thing could have been settled in hour 2 or hour 3. No?
You and I park our sports cars in the same garage when it comes.
I got a minivan, okay? I'm sensible enough. They saw my credit and they said minivan only.
I'm telling you, I am a believer in what we talked about before. I think if you win the Rumble, you should main event WrestleMania. And I think you should not just main event WrestleMania, you should go on last night too. At least one of the winners of the Royal Rumble should. I stand by that. I still believe that. That doesn't mean I can't get all fired up about Paul Heyman on a pole match. That doesn't mean I can't get excited about what we've been offered here. So, but I do agree with you. I think that once you take that away, and again, main event night 2, that's the main event. The final match, I don't believe in co-main event. I don't believe in multiple main events for multiple nights. I don't believe in that. I do believe that the main event is the last match on the final night of the show. But it doesn't mean I'm not excited about what we're getting.
I'm dating myself. The only time I'll accept a triple main event was Fully Loaded 2000, but I can't even mention half the participants because they're no longer around. Chris Briggs says this: I would love to see how they would change Seth's character with Heyman. Are you assuming? Are you implying that Paul Heyman's going to walk away with Seth freaking Rollins?
That is something a lot of people are wondering. I see we got Stat Guy Greg coming through, by the way, in the chat. And if Paul Heyman betrays Roman Reigns, he's going to have to answer to me. Stat Guy Greg, someone I would not want to have to answer to, by the way. One time I was at WrestleMania with him, and he caught me eating raisins as a snack, and I have never heard the end of it.
This dude eating raisins at WrestleMania.
I regret nothing, Flobo.
Why? Was it next to decaf? Like, what's going on?
That guy Greg, by the way, one of the best people to be sitting next to while watching a wrestling show. Just a delight.
Look, I'll be honest with you. We were at WrestleMania, not to name drop, but we're at WrestleMania. We're sitting next to that guy Greg, and we're having a time of my life. At least Jack is, because Jack is like going nuts.
I'm just down in raisins left and right.
He gets a call from one of our mutual associates to come sit closer to the stage, and of course you'll do that. But when Stat Guy Greg left, you heard like the sad like Hulk theme in the background because Jack's buddy left him. See you around, Greg. See you around, Jack. Oh my gosh, raisins are disgusting. Okay, so
yeah, I was trying to be healthy after eating like garbage for like 5 days straight.
Oh man, that week I ate chicken salads all week. I hated it. Okay, so let's talk about this World Heavyweight Championship, which is not going to be our main event. It's Gunther versus Jey Uso. I've had my problems with this. I kind of missed the ring general Walter, but I'm going to deal with Gunther. Jey Uso has a hot hand. Kids love him. He's selling merch, but the IWC is turning on the master of the Yeet. Now, I can't believe I'm saying this, but can the World Heavyweight Championship steal the show that's supposed to main event on?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If you said to me, does Gunther have the chance to steal the show? Just that. Yes, that's all I need to know. Gunther has the chance to steal the show. 100%. Jey Uso, man, the IWC can jog on. Jey Uso is awesome. Jey Uso is fun. I enjoy the yeets. I enjoy the entrances. And he's great at what he does. He's one of the greatest tag team champions of all time. It was fun watching him win the Royal Rumble. I think that this absolutely could steal the show. And yeah, yeah. I do.
So
I like raisins, and I stand by that.
decaf coffee
Californian or
raisins.
otherwise.
No one's as much of a square. It has to be a character at this point.
Yeah.
I like raisins. Okay, all right. Dan.
And decaf coffee. That's gonna send you to the bathroom quick.
Yes, it will. No wonder you say so, Trim.
That's
Okay.
the secret.
Let's talk about this though, because it's been a well repeated stat that Gunther has held gold for about 80% of his time in WWE, which is unheard of anyone. He could be on a generational run. People say he has a Hall of Fame track, first ballot Hall of Famer, and Jey Uso does present a little bit of a challenge. Here's someone who's all flash. Here's someone who's not all flash, but here's someone who's flashier, has a catchphrase, the man, the people, people's champ. If I ever want to say this, we love clash of styles in wrestling. But my biggest concern is that what we're going to get is Jey Uso playing to Gunther's strength. I think we're going to get a psychological match, which may not be what the people want in Las Vegas. Are my fears justified, or am I crazy?
When it comes to these different styles, I can't think of a time Gunther didn't play to his strengths. I can't think of a time anyone was wrestling Gunther and it wasn't Gunther's style and what Gunther wanted to do. Gunther controls things. That's why he's the world champion. Gunther will always have Gunther matches, which are, by the way, incredible matches. The thing about Jey Uso, whether it be a psychological match, a British strong style match, as we'll call it, hard hitting chop fest, those aren't his style. You're right. But all Jey Uso needs is that little flash at the end. That's all we need. That little bit of hope at the end. And if he gives us that, if he can give us just a couple of minutes of what Jey Uso is good at, then we're all going to go home happy.
Does Jey Uso have added pressure? And I'm not trying to disparage anybody because I only took one wrestling class in my entire life and it was too hard for me. But last year in Philadelphia, the match with his brother, Big Jim, was not necessarily bad, but it was the least reviewed positively. Do you think Jay's thinking about that going into this weekend?
It has to be. This is the biggest match of his career by far. And the future of his career hinges on this. I mean, I don't want to say anything is ever for sure, right? But if he fails, if this is a stinker, if this is bad, there's nothing left for Jey Uso. That said, if he knocks us out of the park, he could be in this position for a very, very, very long time. This is absolutely the most important match of Jey Uso's career by a long shot. And he knows it. I'm sure he knows it.
Jihad says, Jay Gunther's cool runnings, another classic in the hood. Jay will earn the respect, but Gunther will keep the gold. That is a bold prediction. We'll get the predictions late at the end of this program because we have WrestleMania and Stand Deliver. Question for you, Jack. Should we stick with Saturday or should we go over to the other championship match?
I just want to say I rewatched Cool Runnings recently, actually, and I realized I did not remember that movie nearly as well as I thought I did when I watched it again.
Well, it's one of those films,
a picture,
one of those motion pictures that played all the time growing up. So I got like the TV edited version to format to fit my screen. So when I actually watched the Blu-ray, I was like, oh wow, it is like a different movie.
I mean, it's not like crazy. It wasn't like crazy different. It was kind of like as I was watching, I was like, I really only remember a few key points, and then the rest of it is just filled in with like nothing. Like I didn't remember.
Hey, Raul D, who plays Junior, is one of my buddies, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
He still gets requests to come out to like Copenhagen to do appearances, which is like what I want in life. Residual checks. Okay.
Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme.
What are you thinking? Championship matches or stick with Saturday?
Let's do some championship matches.
All right, cool. So the biggest championship match is something that is pretty much a year in the making. After winning the gold last year in Philadelphia, Cody Rhodes has been on an absolute tear from here to France and back, but a certain Chain Gang liaison John Cena, who was turned evil by The Rock, who has disappeared over the past 6 weeks, is on a collision course. It's Cody Rhodes against the John Cena at WrestleMania, his final WrestleMania.
You know, this has worked out great, I think. I think John Cena obviously isn't going to be around for a long time on this tour. And so I think going into it, it's great that he did what he did. It's great that he turned on Cody and he turned on the fans and he kicked Cody in the nards, as scientists would say. But
No, they wouldn't.
because it's hard to be like, I'm the lovable guy who just wants to be a part of this one last year, and then he doesn't show up to half of the shows, right?
It's pretty funny.
So now it makes sense. I think that's great, and I think that John Cena has played his hand perfectly in this. I think he has done an incredible job with this, and everything that we as fans have wanted to see from a John Cena, we're getting. I think he's doing it in the best possible way. And I look at Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes may be one of the greatest orators in wrestling. He is such a good speaker. He is so good at speaking on a microphone. And I know maybe he doesn't do like, the Rock electricity and stuff like that, but just he never stutters. He uses big words, but I still understand what they mean. He ties things together. He is so good at speaking. I don't think we appreciate just how good that man is on a microphone. And the fact that he's been able to help build this basically on his own for so much of this time is something that is just more evidence that he is moving up that all-time greatest list. I mean, I'm not saying he's top 10. Breaks, but I'm saying you think about the list, he's moving up that list.
I think a lot of the shade that comes at Cody was just because he's the act that came after Roman. Like, as much as everyone complained about being Roman's reign being so long, it was like, okay, anyone who takes the championship off of Roman is going to have a tough time. So the question I have is not so much about Cody. I do think he will deliver. It's Cena. My friend and I were arguing about this on our text chain the other day about whether or not The Rock was needed, and I would say, yes, The Rock was needed to have Cena turn because he asked for Cody's soul, and when he said no, it was a plan B. But my friend says the otherwise. Hey, look, I'm John Cena. I didn't win the Rumble. I told the world I'm going after Elimination Chamber, so I was on the path of being a bad guy. I didn't need the final boss. In fact, with The Rock not being there, it's actually hurting this build. Is that a wild claim or statement? In which way do you fall on this?
I get the thinking. I understand it because from a logical standpoint, yeah, John Cena, he won the match. He didn't need The Rock at all, really. He was already on the trajectory of getting that main event and getting that opportunity. And the thing that happened with The Rock being there was completely unnecessary. But that said, it made it feel bigger. It made it feel like a bigger moment. I look at The Rock, though, and The Rock is a huge star, and The Rock is entertaining. But this isn't about The Rock. And I look at last year, I look at WrestleMania 40, and I think a little bit of that build became about The Rock. And it was less about Roman Reigns. It was more about the final boss and more about The Rock. And I think Rock being a part of this would just muddy what this really is. And that is today's biggest star, today's Captain America, today's Superman, going up against the former Superman, the former Captain America, that has now turned to the dark side, that has said, Hail Hydra. And can this American nightmare defeat the greatest of all time? That's what this is about. And I think having someone like The Rock, because he's such a big name, because he's such a star, would have just taken away from that.
I'm such a nerd, but people say Captain America being a symbol for good. I remember in the comic we gave up on America. It was like, this place is so racist. I'm Nomad. And I always go, if Captain America quits, what hope do we have? And I think that Cena being evil was perfectly timed. I think the match itself is worthy of a Sunday night main event. But if Cena doesn't win, I wonder what's going to happen with his trajectory. I know we'll get the predictions later, but that's the thing I'm thinking about. I almost feel like Cena has to win because if he doesn't, he may go off the deep end.
Well, he might, and we'll see. We'll have to talk about that in a little bit. That's a tease, ladies and
That's a
gentlemen.
tease, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the women's division, man. The last year wasn't the cleanest for the women's divisions on Raw and SmackDown. Felt like people were going up and down. They added the championships. It's kind of hard to delineate which division was going to be which. But I will say, since the Rumble, we're seeing something that we've never seen before with both women's championship matches really grabbing headlines. Let's call it the one that got all the headlines for all the funky reasons. Tiffany Stratton with the world's prettiest moonsault against the Queen, Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair came back. She won the Rumble, got some boos for it. Tiffany Stratton was getting boos before she turned to Nia Jax. And, well, that promo a couple weeks ago really changed the complexion of this one. I know you want to see this because you know Charlotte's the GOAT. But Tiffany has an opportunity here to cement herself as one of the greats already.
Tiffany Stratton is someone that we have looked at as being a potential great for a long time, way back since she debuted in NXT. We knew right away that she had what it took. But like a lot of people, potential isn't really that valuable. It's whether or not you can actually do it, whether or not you can actually hang. It's very easy to say this person could be a main eventer. This person could be someone who stands up to Charlotte Flair. Now we're seeing it. And you're right. Charlotte Flair, greatest of all time for women's wrestler. I put that down. Now, will she be forever? I don't know. But if I had to stake my claim right now, I would say yes, Charlotte Flair is the greatest of all time. Charlotte Flair has done everything she can to rattle young Tiffany Stratton. She has done everything she can to try to throw Tiffany Stratton off her game. And I think maybe the first time it worked. Tiffany Stratton bounced back, though. And now Tiffany Stratton is showing that she's not going to get rattled by the greatest of all time, by the best that there is. And she is standing toe-to-toe, getting the fans to cheer her, getting the fans to side with her to the point that even now Charlotte Flair is getting rattled. I think that is something that is you can't teach that. That's something that's no longer promise. That is no longer what she could be. That is what she is. She is someone who is at the upper echelon of the women's division, and she's going to be there for a long time.
Well, I was going to make this whole diatribe about Tiffany not being ready, but Ricky Sinclair shut me up and says, you have to respect Tiffany for wanting to hone her skills before being called up. And the reason why is that I'm not necessarily a hater. I didn't really like the trajectory on SmackDown, just doing the whole, like, I'm your assistant thing, and then, just screwing over Nia Jax. I would have loved to have her work solo, but that's just me,
I get where you're coming from, but I also think that that's proof of just how great she is and why she has such a great future. One of the things that we've seen over the years is wrestlers come into a company, they come into a new roster, and as they say, they have the rocket strapped to them, and they win. They're on their own, and they win championships, but for some reason, they never resonate. Tiffany Stratton was put in a secondary role to another champion, but her star power was so great that people still were cheering for her, still wanted her to do well. It reminded me a lot of, this is going way back for the folks who aren't elderly like the hosts here, but if you remember back during the Invasion days, you had Rob Van Dam on the Alliance side, and he was just a secondary guy in this group, but people kept going nuts for him, and they kept cheering him. And eventually he had to stand on his own because he was so popular. You look at Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan. You couldn't hold back. People wanted him to win. And to a degree, that's sort of what was happening with Tiffany Stratton. Maybe not to the same level, but she was the secondary character. She wasn't supposed to be the star, but that's who everyone was gravitating to. And I think that's proof that she's a star, because even when she was set up to be the co-star, she showed as the brightest star.
A couple years ago, when this is kind of a deep cut, but I'm going through with this. When Billy Gunn won the King of the Ring, King Ass is what he called. And he called himself that. Guys, I'm not insulting him. And they paired him with The Rock.
It was a great run.
Yeah, a couple months, and they paired him with The Rock to fight at SummerSlam '99, I believe. And there was a couple matches, the Kiss My Ass match, which Billy lost, got a face full of ass, and that was pretty much the end of this peak run. And I didn't think Billy Gunn could ever recover from that. Yeah, there was the one Billy Gunn. Yeah, there was Billy and Chuck. But that King Ass run was supposed to be his coronation. No pun intended. I look at Charlotte Flair, and even though she's one of the most decorated women's champions of all time, it feels like the past 2 weeks has been about that promo and her marriages or her marriage failures. Can she recover from that and have people not think about that promo if she were even in defeat? Can she recover from that as a performer?
I don't know. We're gonna have to find out, but that's also something that I think Charlotte Flair brought on herself, in the sense that you look at that first side by side promo they did, right, where they were doing the split screen, and you could tell Charlotte was trying to rattle Tiffany Stratton. And look, as the veteran, as the person's been around the block, you want to rattle the young rookies. That's your prerogative. Do what you got to do to stay on top. I'm there for it. But once you do that, you got to understand that they may come back with something to rattle you as well. And so if this is something that Charlotte can't come back from, she only has herself to blame.
Damn, Tacoma's a rough part of town. Jeez. Sorry, them's the rules, kid. All right.
Street champ.
All right, I bet you. Let's talk about the other side there. Well, our triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship. It was Bianca, who had her own problems with Naomi, and Jade, who was going to have a match. You had Rhea Ripley, who's trying to get back a piece of gold, and against the person she's never beat 1-on-1, the current World Heavyweight Champion, Io Sky. People were saying Io Sky was kind of an afterthought, but I would tell you this: last week's Raw and this week's Raw has told us otherwise. Io Sky is here to play. Jack Farmer. There's a lot of matches on WrestleMania's card, but this one is my pick to be the one who steals the show.
Yeah, absolutely could be. I mean, you have Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair who have stole WrestleMania weekends in the past, and you have Io Sky, who is one of the best in the world when it comes to putting on matches. So, yeah, of course, this seems like it could be a show stealer. But that said, I agree. I think Io Sky has been disrespected in this whole thing.
True.
And not just by the other competitors, but I think by the fans. I think the fans continually saying we want to see Rhea versus Bianca. Well, hey, you can watch Rhea versus Bianca if you want, but the champ is Io Sky. And so that's who you got to be giving respect to. And again, not just the competitors. I think us as fans, give Io Sky respect. I feel like a lot of people forgot just what she was doing before becoming the champion and before coming to the main roster. She's doing an NXT and what she's been doing as part of Damage Control and everything else. Io Sky is incredible. We need to quit disrespecting her.
It's kind of hard to treat her as like that main attraction when she was in that faction for the past 2 years and 3 years in Damage Control. But I'm with you. I really felt like she needs some of that screen time. But we'll get to predictions later on, but this match, I think, could be the clash of styles that the women's division needs. I feel like there's a lot of times where you have wrestlers have very similar, like powerhouse versus powerhouse, light heavyweight versus light heavyweight, but now you're getting something for everywhere here. I mean, Bianca Belair is a powerhouse. You got Rhea Ripley, who was basically untouchable in the year 2023, and Io Sky is kind of a luchador, a style, I guess, which is pretty awesome. So something for everyone in this matchup.
Yeah, and I think that Io Sky is going to have the opportunity to do some really cool things against two much larger opponents. And we're going to see two of the most powerful women in pro wrestling try to win the most powerful contest. So this is going to be one that I'm really looking forward to seeing unfold as well.
I got to give it up for Chris Briggs, besides the fact he hates Charlotte, which is weird, because Charlotte's the greatest of all time. Says the IC title match is going to be...
on that? Do we park our sports cars in the same garage?
I got the minivan.
Oh, yeah. There's not enough room with the minivan in there.
Thing is, I have no wife and kids. I have all the space. Come on over. I'll let you borrow it, neighbor. Chris Briggs says the IC title match is going to be a sleeper and will steal the show. So let's talk about this IC title match. It is going to be a 4-way. It's Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio of Damage Control, of Judgment Day, Braun Breaker the champ, and Penta. Now, I like Penta as much as the next person. I think he was one of my favorite wrestlers on the AEW roster. People are saying it's kind of a quick slot in for someone who just debuted on the roster about 2 months ago. Thoughts?
It is a quick slot in for someone who just debuted on the roster a few months ago. But Penta is just a charismatic force of nature once he's in that ring. I think everyone's going to... There's no one that's upset that he's in that match. Let me put it that way. And I think getting to see... We talk about clash of styles. This is a clash of personalities, right? I mean, you've got Cero Miedo, right? You got Penta, who is going to be doing his thing. And imagine how loud it's going to be in Vegas when he does the Cero Miedo. And you got Braun Breaker, who is just, I'm just going to run straight forward at you. But the story to me is Judgment Day and what's going to happen when Dom and Finn have to go at it, because only one of them can win this thing. Maybe neither of them can win this thing, but at best, they go 50-50 for Judgment Day. One of them walks home with a loss, one of them walks home with a win. I can't see Finn Balor being okay with Dom as champ, and Dom, I don't know. I could see him also not being okay with Finn as champ.
I hate this. I like Penta. I like Braun, more or less. I think he needs to chill out with the tanner. He's like turning red. Like he's not even like it's like red, like beet red. But
I like it. I think it's a cool style.
No, it's not. It's like, brother, you okay? It's like a cartoon anger shade. Okay. Anyway, it's Finn Balor, man. Like I feel like he's a good hand, but there was a time where he was the prince. You know what I mean? There's a time when he was the main attraction. He's gonna make any match great, but I always feel like you put him in the match to fill out a matchup, and that's terrible for someone who won't be here forever. You know what I mean?
I think he adds a lot of credibility to this matchup. I think without Finn Balor in there, if you're looking at a matchup that's just Braun Breaker versus Penta versus Dom, what we're all going to end up saying is, I wish this was just Braun versus Penta. That's what we want to see. And I think Dom has people who want to see him in the match, but I think it's the drama of what's going to happen with Judgment Day that makes the addition of both of them interesting in this. And so Dom is a star. I think Dom knows how to get reactions, and Dom's going to have a very long and successful career. But I think without Finn Balor, Dom wouldn't be as interesting in this one.
Dom, not interesting. Tisk. Because there was a time he was the most interesting guy on the roster. Just want to say before we move on today, do yourself a favor and stick around, because Jack and I were going through our predictions of WrestleMania this weekend. And before we move on to Stand and Deliver, which will also be featured this weekend from the NXT brand, just gotta say this special edition of Draped in Gold is brought to you by SeatGeek. I know tickets for wrestling events are just way too dang expensive. I want to help you out here. Use promo code FLOBITO, that's FLOBITO, for $20 off your first order. It might get you somewhere like the Hall of Fame or maybe even WrestleMania itself. And of course, if you're listening right now in your favorite podcast app or platform, please rate the show 5 stars, drop a comment. We read them all. Our egos need it. We're so fragile. Please like us. Do us a favor. Review the show.
Yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe. And if you do share, that's the most powerful thing you can do, especially as we're making the move to evenings. This is a show that we don't have a marketing budget. You guys are our marketing budget. So it helps us grow the show. And my goal, what I would love to do, is get some wrestlers on here to chat with us, but they won't come on if we don't have enough viewers. So share the show. Let's get it going. I would love to finger wag a lot of these wrestlers.
Why?
Because some of them need someone to tell them what's happening.
They won't come on our show because we don't have any viewers. So let's finger wag at them.
There's a lot of them that need a good finger wagging, Flobo.
All right, let's get to the Saturday matinee, Stand and Deliver, which is, I guess, you consider NXT's WrestleMania. We were talking about this. I think the name Stand and Deliver is kind of weak, but that's besides the point. The event is going to be amazing. Before we get into the card, thoughts about the idea? Again, I ask you this every year about NXT's premiere event basically being on the morning of WrestleMania Night 1.
It's a tough spot. It's a tough spot for anybody to be in the morning spot before a WrestleMania, especially because here's the thing too, is it's not like it's the first show either for WWE. You're going to have people the night before going to SmackDown and Hall of Fame. You're going to have these after parties happening. And so it's not like people are fresh, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on Saturday morning either going to this show. And that's if they haven't checked out all the incredible shows that are going around, like GCW's The Collective and everything else that's happening in that week. So,
and the casinos, because you're in Vegas.
And the casinos, because you're in Vegas. So it's just a brutal start time. I think NXT always does a really good job of making it worth your time. And I agree. I don't really like the name Stand and Deliver. I know it's old fashioned, but I thought Takeover was just a great name for an NXT program to have. But it is their WrestleMania. It is their biggest show of the year, and they always make it worth your time.
1 p.m. Eastern Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific on local time in Vegas. Chris Briss is asking what time NXT Stand and Deliver is. And for those who are doing the double, going through Stand and Deliver, then going to WrestleMania, you're basically going from one straight in. You're going basically doing 3 hours and crossing over the bridge to Allegiant for another one. A lot of drama in this one that we just watched. And I just watched the end of NXT having so many questions answered in advance of Stand and Deliver, namely this triple threat title match. Obafemi, Trick Williams, and Javon Evans. These are three men that could be all franchise tagged if they had those in NXT. They're on a collision course if there ever was one. Javon Evans looks like he doesn't want to be the young, impressionable OG anymore. He's going straight on OG. Trick Willie had his glory last year, wants to replicate that, and who can stop Obafemi? Jack Farmer, we talk about what it means to be the top of NXT. These three guys are that in spades.
I want to shout out A Plus LA for rolling through. Appreciate you, A Plus LA. But yeah, these guys, if this was a sports team, and you were looking to trade these three guys, imagine the kind of capital you could get for all three of these individuals, all three of these gentlemen. All three of them have very high ceilings. I think Obafemi and Trick Williams are day one impact kind of wrestlers. Similar to the way Braun Breaker showed up and was immediately an unstoppable force on the main roster. I think that's the way these two individuals are. Javon Evans, I have always said, man, he's only 16 years old and he's already in a great spot. He has everything.
Wait. 16? He's 20.
I mean, I think he can drive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, 20 years old, but you look at, it's not just how far he's already gotten at 20, but it's what he's able to do. He wrestles really well. He's exciting, but he can talk on a microphone. He connects with the audience in ways that most wrestlers can't. And he has that it factor about him. And I think that he's someone that I don't know if he's going to be on the main roster tomorrow. I don't know if that's going to happen necessarily like that. I'm not saying he's going to main event WrestleMania by the time he's 22, but he has such a long career ahead of him if he wants it. And that means I remember back when Randy Orton first started and how good he was. And I remember thinking to myself, this young man could someday be one of the greatest of all time.
This young man, is that you said? That was a quote?
Yes.
This youngster.
This young man. When I was a child, I was like a child. Like, this young man,
he can do it. He can do it.
Do it. Dad, he can do it sometime. I say he could be one of the greatest of all time. And I look at Javon Evans and I think, man, he might be as well because he's 20 years old. Is it that crazy to think that he gets drafted to the main roster in the next year? No. Is it that crazy to think within the next year or two he's winning Intercontinental Championships? No.
Kind of.
Is it that hard to believe in 5 years he could be a world champion? Not necessarily. It's not necessarily crazy. And he'd be 25 years old. That's crazy in this day and age. But theoretically, he could do that.
It is interesting when you think about the young talent that WWE's called up. A lot of people have been talking about the older talent, like your Sheamuses, your formerly Bobby Lashley, your Finn Balor's, anyone over the age of 40. But you look at someone like Tyler Bate, who was signed at like 19, and he's been in WWE since 2017, and he's not even near 30 yet. It definitely is a long-term investment, but I think we're kind of overlooking Trick Williams here. I know Obafemi is a champ. You can't overlook him. But then you also have Javon Evans, who's improving. But Trick Willie was the guy a year ago. He was NXT.
Well, myself and everyone else is taking Trick Williams for granted is what it is. We've just come to expect the greatness of Trick Williams. And, he's also one of my favorite football podcasters, Dave Damashek. He has this phrase he calls the curse of supposed to. Like, he's supposed to be the best. He's supposed to be the best. Yeah. He's supposed to win championships. He's supposed to do all these things. And I feel like Trick Williams has a little bit of the curse of supposed to. He's supposed to be all these things. So when he does it, we're like, yeah, he's supposed to main event, stand and deliver. But you're right. I think that he's someone who, when he gets to the main roster, he's going to set that thing on fire. I would like to see, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, I'd like to see a little bit more of the old Trick, though. I don't like serious Trick. I like him taking his job seriously, but I like fun Trick. I like the Trick that we all knew and loved last year. That's the one I want to see. I don't want him changing to be the serious guy. Be the fun Trick.
Yeah, props to the Spostas, because one of my jobs I got fired from over at ESPN. I was on the 30 for 30 documentary for Todd Marinovich, the Robo QB, and that guy had a whole career as Spostas. So let's be real. We got to give a shout out to the chat here because things are going fast and furious. I want to give a little bit of your time here. Ricky Sinclair says that's, I'm assuming that's Javon. He needs to be in the North American title picture. I really like Javon, but give him time. Goodfellow says speculation is Trick, Oba, Javon, secret leader Dark State. And Chris Brick says, perhaps humorously, and Oba needs to join the New Day as the new Big E and could be Big F. I don't know if we're being serious. I just imagine like him doing the Big E thing is like, I don't care if you clap. It's not a New Day. Just doom.
As everyone's
just like, why would you sign him? Okay. But let's talk about Dark State. Dark State had a little bit of extracurricular activities and a cinematic beatdown this week on NXT. And, well, Tony D'Angelo was mad at Stacks for taking it with the fisticuffs in the parking lot. So the solution is to have a match over at Stand and Deliver, 3-on-3. So one of the members of Dark State will be sitting down against the D'Angelo family. But speculation has been swirling that a higher power may be in play.
I don't think so. These are all smart individuals. I don't think they have someone pulling their strings. I think they're sick of people pulling their strings, and that's what brought Dark State together. I know a lot of people think it might be Trick, or it might be Javon, or it might be Obafemi. I don't think any of them are. In fact, I think, if I recall, they've all been attacked by Dark State, unless I'm missing something here. And frankly, what kind of leader is going to let themselves get beat up by their own?
Have you not seen the NWO? Like that's what the whole did. They beat up people and they go, "Okay, I'm jumped in." You know?
No, but yeah, you can jump in members, but you don't jump in the leader.
Come on, man. There has to be some reason. Like what's the
NWO
reason?
didn't jump Hulk Hogan before bringing him into the group.
They did backstage, brother. I saw it, brother.
That's why he came out with the black eye years and years and years prior.
See, we have an in-story line reason for that.
But no, I think they are their own leaders. It's like the Shield. They don't have a leader.
It definitely was Ambrose, man.
Yeah, it may have been. May have been. That's why now I mentioned it, Ambrose seemed like the one with his head on his shoulders.
Let's talk quickly about the women's division here, because we got two matches that are pretty much marquee. Julia had a bit of a promo or vignette. It was one of those like sitting down backstage while things are like swishing over her face kind of a situation, because she is going to be in that NXT Women's Championship matchup alongside Jordan Grace, Jada Parker, and the reigning champion Stephanie Vaquer, who also had her promo this week going back home to Chile. Man, this could be the match that ends up being they don't have Slammies, I guess, NXT End Year Award winner, if there ever was one.
I like when champions go back to their home countries. I think that's just it's great on so many levels. You know, I think it's great for the brand building. I think it's great to show just how big WWE and pro wrestling is. I think it makes the champion look like an absolute superstar. So I'm really glad they did this, and they should do it more, and they should do it with every champion. Or most champions. And if they're an American-born champion, they should take the championship back to their state or their city where they grew up. You know, if you were champion, you should take it to Brooklyn, you know, and walk around with the championship. And if I was champion, I'd never take it to Tacoma. Come on.
So wait, are you still the sweet champ? Because you just never defend it, right? You won and pieced out.
Things get stolen in Tacoma. I'm not going through there with a big shiny gold belt. You're out of your mind.
That's terrible.
Out of your mind.
I represent Tacoma. That way I'll never go back. I will never go back. No, I like this one too, because you can tell that she's like happy to be there, and she had implied, which no, she didn't imply. She said it. It was hard to go back to Chile during her career in the independents, I guess for visa reasons. It was my implication, but able to see her family, and the mayor of San Fernando came out and was like, "She is my constituent." It was pretty cool. I don't know. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's all good stuff.
Yeah, Goodfella says, I think they put the Speed Championship on Sol Ruka to hold her off. I'm picking Lola. We'll get to that right now. So the NXT North American Women's Championship is going to be decided via ladder match. Lola Vice and Thea Hale were the last ones to qualify alongside Izzy Dame, Sol Ruka, Kalani Jordan, and Zarya. So that's pretty cool, having both Zarya and Sol Ruka in this matchup. Now, the title was vacated by Stephanie Vaquer. This could be a chance to have a new chapter here. Kalani Jordan was a former champ, so was Fallon Henley. I mean, have we really figured out what the North American Championship is on NXT?
The first person I think of when I think of the North American Championship on NXT is Kalani Jordan. And I think it's someone who's willing to fight and be a workhorse, as they say, and put on great matches and defend against as many comers as possible. In fact, that's kind of what it was. And that's why the title had to be vacated, because the champion was so ready to fight. She fought the other champion.
And I guess so. I mean, they were like, we're friends, but not anymore. Again, ladder match is always a good time. That's why I like this one as well. Sol Ruka would have been my choice, but that's really good call by saying she has a speed championship. Does she really need to go forward it? Before we get into predictions, I want to talk to you about this North American title match, because Ricky Saints is a fine champion, but it's going against a man that was the former NXT champion, Ethan Page. Now, I understand Ethan Page wants some respect. I get it. Ricky Saints is not giving to him, so you got to beat it out of them. But this is a step down for All Ego?
No, because I look at the opponent sometimes. And in this case, I think the opponent, Ricky Saints, is a big star, the biggest star in NXT right now, as far as the person who gets the impressions, who gets the tweets, who gets the engagement. Ricky Saints, clearly someone when he signed and he showed up, was making a big splash right off the get-go. We all know who he is. We all seen him in AEW, and we know that he's a big deal. And I think being someone that can take the championship and put a big L on Ricky Saints is a bigger deal than just about anything else. I don't think it's a step down for Ethan Page right now, especially if the road to the championship is blocked currently.
I understand that. I don't think so either, but the idea of him losing the NXT champion and going, I need to go find myself, and then comes back and he wins a couple matches and hasn't been on regularly, makes me wonder what it is. But Ricky Saints has been on the tear. His NXT theme song is growing on me, I guess. It's still kind of pizzazzy. It's still kind of like a show tune, but I'm in. I'm on board, Still doing the fist pumps.
Tough. His AEW theme was so good. It was so good.
Well,
it's just tough. It's tough.
Okay, so allow me to gripe. I think AEW themes have better instrumentation, but you can tell all the instruments are virtual. Whereas WWE, you can tell some of the instruments are real, but the melodies are terrible. So you're like, pick your poison. Do you want something that sounds legit, but like noise? Or do you want something that's really dope and catchy, but it sounds like you made it in a basement?
I would much rather take the virtual instruments over clunky noise any day of the week.
Shout out to Swiss Beats. He will love that. Rough Riders.
Swiss Beats.
I told you I'm old. All right, let's do this.
Somewhere Swiss Beats is like, what?
Yeah. It's like, Alicia Keys is like, what's going on, babe? Don't worry about it. But let's get into predictions, man. It's NXT Stand Deliver is up first. It's the Saturday matinee, and it's a matchup. Could be the best Stand Deliver of all time. You mentioned this a minute ago. It's the Women's North American Championship. It will be decided by a ladder match. Lola Vice and Thea Hale qualified today, but they'll be going along Izzy Dame of the Culling, Sol Ruka, Kalani Jordan, and Zarya. Who do you got?
These are always so tricky to call because, it's a crapshoot. You got six women in a ladder match. This could go any which way.
You're stalling. Pick one.
Don't stop me from my stall. Again, I look at this and I want to say, I want to take a risk here. And I want to say someone who I don't think a lot of people are going to say, well, someone else already picked her in the chat, so now I don't want to say it, but I'm going with Chris Bricks. I think Sol Ruka. I think Sol Ruka is going to do this, and the reason I think Sol Ruka is going to do this is because I look at the way she wrestles, and I look at what she's able to do, and I think there's no one that can navigate a ladder as good as Sol Ruka is going to be able to. And I think Sol Ruka is not only going to get it, but I think she's going to hit an incredible soul snatcher at some point off that thing, because man, I don't know how she does it. It is the most fascinating thing in the world to me that move looks like it's so difficult to set up, but she somehow hits it out of nowhere every time. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's scary, man. Especially somebody who has terrible knees to go to the corner for the Soul Snatcher. No, I shouldn't even give a prediction. I'm above that. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to say Izzy Dame. The culling has been pretty much on an upward trend. Sean Spears is not the North American champion, but that group definitely needs some gold. Izzy Dame is my choice. But my side bet, if I were to make one, it'd be Lola Vice and Thea Hale will have themselves a little bit of a spat that bleeds over to next week.
I did want to pick Kaylani Jordan because I do think of her as the North American champion. But I just something about Sol Ruka right now. I can't look away.
Well, Fraxium looks like to be half jerk, half amazing, because even though Axiom was looking forward to taking on Hank and Tank for the NXT Tag Team Championships, Nathan Frazier says the boys don't have a chance. Kind of a jerk move, but do jerk moves have them retaining gold on Saturday?
Jerk moves have helped people retain championships for as long as there's been pro wrestling, Flobo.
Deep.
You know, I've been a doubter of Fraxium for a long time, or at least
Yes,
I
you
was.
have.
I picked against them many, many times, and I was wrong too many times. So I'm going Fraxium here. Fraxium's going to get the win. I know Hank and Tank, they are the fans' choice. I know they're the guys who we all kind of want to see make it because they remind us of ourselves. But Fraxium doesn't lose. Fraxium wins every time. They're always going to win. I'm picking the team that has lined up win after win after win, not the team that has lost over and over and over again, even as legends have tried to help them. I'm going Fraxium here.
I will pick Hank and Tank only because I've never liked Fraxium together. I like them separate, especially I love that. Again, I love Axiom separate. I think he can really have a good singles run. He's a very unique look, a very unique love of math. Is that still a thing? I'm not even sure. I just
Love
want
of
to.
math or it being unique?
I mean, he comes up with two equations. Like Steiner never did that.
Steiner, because
I got 100.
they didn't have equations that Steiner used.
Senor Joe. Yeah, so I want Hank and Tank to win. They got the rub, as they say in the insider terms from the Street Profits 2 weeks ago. They have all the momentum.
We got a lot of Chris Bricks saying this is where they lose the championships. We'll see.
Interesting how they go through everything else, but it's Hank and Tank that is their undoing. Let's talk about that women's championship. Stephanie Vaquer, the hero's welcome she got, will do her no favors against Juliet Jordan Grace and the resurgent Jada Parker, who says, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here for big match moments. Quite like this.
So the person I want to win, the person I'm rooting for in this is Jada Parker.
I know you are.
I think Jada Parker has been someone that I have been a big fan of for a very long time, and someone who I think has Obafemi ceiling. I think that she could be the next big thing. That said, I think that the champ retains. I look at the other people in this matchup, and they're all talented, but I don't know. They haven't been in that spot as long as I'd like to see. You know, I think Jordan Grace still fairly new to NXT. Julia was gone and now just coming back. Jada Parker, I think, has earned the spot, deserves it. But La Primera, she's the champion. I think she's gonna be a champion for a long time because she's about as good as they get. But I think about that. I mean, we talk about people getting moved to the main roster. I mean, this is 4 of them right here could happen tomorrow, and I think they do well. But this is La Primera's time.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like maybe not so much Jordan Grace, but definitely Jada Parker has been someone who's always been an also ran, a bridesmaid, if you will. So she needs a win, but I don't see that in the cards. And Jordan Grace, I would love to have her some momentum. Maybe she does some kind of like stealing the show situation at the matchup, but La Primera is potentially a transcendent champion because when she went back to Chile, I don't think anyone really understood what NXT was, but they did after the fact. And so that could be something to have if you're going to have that certain tour with the belt. So we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So we talked about the tag team stuff. Let's get into one of my favorite matches, the one you just talked about a second ago, the North American title, because I love that championship belt. Ricky Saints against Ethan Page. I've said it before. I love Ricky Saints. Maybe not as much as Jack Farmer. He was a Ricky Saints first bandwagoner, but all ego Ethan Page has been an absolute run since being sent down to the CWC. Maybe walks away with the North American Championship. That's my pick.
Yeah, it's interesting to look at the history of the 3 people involved in this North American Championship, whether it be Ethan Page, Sean Spears, Ricky Saints. Ricky Saints is the hot hand, as they say right now. I'm a big fan of all three of these gentlemen, and I want to see all three of them do well. But Ricky Saints is just, he's lightning in a bottle. You know, he is something that could truly write the future of NXT and then possibly on the big brands down the road. But he's got it all. He's charming. He's good on the microphone. He's exciting. He can make anything he does interesting and fun and entertaining. Ricky Saints is a big deal, and he's going to be a big deal in NXT for a long time.
Well, I don't want to bury, as they say on these internet website chat lines, Ricky Saints, but he's about the same size and build as Carmelo Hayes, and that's someone who is kind of finding his own footing on the main roster. I know we're not as size focused as we used to be in wrestling, but if Carmelo can't find a spot, what says about Ricky Saints when he gets called up?
I think Carmelo's carved out a great spot for himself. I mean, we could talk about his win-loss record, but yeah, if you're in matches with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, you're not going to have a great win-loss record right out of the bat. This isn't 2K. You don't get to just beat the champions and the best of all time day one. That's just not how it works. Melo is doing great stuff, and now he's paired with The Miz, who's a future Hall of Famer himself someday. Melo's going to do very, very well. I bought a lot of stock in Carmelo Hayes a long time ago, and I am holding on to that stock.
Hey, I come out to bury Carmelo Hayes. He likes the show, so he's going to be a friend forever. But I kind of want to see him do well. I kind of want to see him, period. And when I do see him, I want to see him do well. You know what I mean? I'm just putting it out there.
I get what you're saying. I think both Carmelo Hayes, and I know we were talking about Ricky Saints. I think Ricky Saints has what it takes to go the distance in WWE. I think he's going to have a very long and good career if that's what he wants.
Dark State against the D'Angelo crime family. Oh, sorry, D'Angelo family. They don't do crimes. They're legit.
Yeah. Whoa.
I misspoke. I am sorry. Allegedly.
Okay.
We're going to get ourselves a bit of a fun time there. We're not.
They run a restaurant, Flobo.
Yes, that somehow stays open, even though we see it once every 6 months.
Right. And they're the ones eating there.
They're the only ones eating there. What do you got in this one? Dark State, probably. Fourth member, a fifth member, a leader.
Yeah, I go Dark State, and it's an easy call. Dark State has the numbers advantage, and I know you could say that. Well, it's 3-on-3, but no, Dark State's, they've got more people. They're going to win. They're going to use the numbers.
The numbers game always wins. And our main event's going to be one for the age. Triple threat match. Obafemi, Trick Willie, and Javon Evans.
Wait, who are you picking? Did you pick Dark State too?
Yeah, Dark State.
Okay.
The family's floundering, man. They're not really the same force they were for years.
You know what they should do?
Who's that? What's that?
The family.
Okay.
They should get into crime.
No, they would never do that. They're legitimate.
I mean, that's what they should do. I'm saying that they're not, but they should. They should just be criminals.
I've learned anything that crime does pay, guys. It really does. I mean,
it pays well.
Everything else is propaganda. I mean, try crime.
Try crime. Crime pays very well. You'll notice in comic books and movies, when they're like, this guy's the biggest crook in the city, it's never like a poor guy. It's always a rich guy in a penthouse.
Oh, yeah. Nice suits, big, cool vehicles. Just do it.
Yeah, I mean, crime's the way to go. Easy.
Absolutely. But our main event, you want to say you going to walk away with this one? It's going to be the ruler, Trick Willie?
I go Obafemi. Much like I said about Fraxia, man, I just don't bet against Obafemi. I'm never going to bet against Obafemi. Obafemi could be going up against the entire NXT roster, and I'd be like, Obafemi is going to win because he's the ruler. And Javon Evans has a very bright future. Trick Williams is probably going to be on the main roster very soon. And Obafemi is going to rule as long as he wants to.
Wow. NXT Stand Deliver, 1 p.m. Eastern on the Eastern Seaboard, 10 a.m. local time. I know we talk about Stand Deliver and whether or not it steals the show. On paper, doesn't look as strong as last year, but I've been fooled by paper plenty of time. So if you're up at that time, at that hour, please check out the show. Let us know what you think, especially if you are reviewing the show, this one here, in the same time.
Yeah, let's know what match you think is going to steal the show for Stand and Deliver as we get into WrestleMania. But as we wrap up, let us know what you think is going to steal the show. I'm curious what you guys are looking forward to.
So let's get on to the main event of the weekend. Jack Farmer performing at Progress. No, I'm kidding. Let's talk about
Yes.
WrestleMania 40. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about you at all. All right, Monster Jam. We're talking about WrestleMania. Two
As
nights
big as it
event.
gets.
As big as it gets. How's it going? 2 below. 2 nights, many different matches coming to you live from Allegiant Stadium, the home of the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's go through Saturday first. Your favorite night. I'm just kidding. It's your least favorite night of a 2-night extravaganza because you feel Sunday is superior for some reason. Let's take it from the top. The Raw Tag Team Championships will be on the line as the New Day take on the War Raiders. Now, this would have been a marquee matchup 5 years ago. People are saying this one's kind of tacked on, but you and I are smarter than that, right, Jack?
Well, I am. But
Ouch.
no, the New Day, are they officially a new team? Does this, if they win, does this count towards the New Day's championship reigns? Is this a different team?
No, it's like when Destiny's Child went from having 4 members to 3.
So we shouldn't call them the New Day. They're still the New Day.
I mean, they call themselves the New Day, but I don't.
That means they're a different team. If
for records purposes, they are New Day doing business as, or New Day doing business as the New Day.
But that means it's a different team. It's like when Jefferson Starship became Starship. It's a new band. It's different.
That's different because the sound changed. Like the whole sound changed from Jefferson Starship. Jefferson Airplane.
Tony, and Bill DeVoe or something like that.
Whoa! It feels good. That's 2 different entities. That's New Edition.
New Edition. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
You said Tony Toe.
I forgot.
You broke my heart, Jack. This show's over. Seriously.
That's just a New Edition. Bill DeVoe. That's a new band though.
Right. It's a new band, but sometimes you can change lineups and have the same. You think the same guys in Chicago are rocking it out every week 60 years later? No, there's different people.
Yeah, but they're playing. That's a cover band, so it doesn't count anymore.
No, they're actual Chicago still touring.
No, but I know what you're saying. But the thing is, this shouldn't count towards their rank. Everyone in the chat, let me know. Am I crazy? Is New Day a new group?
They're not a new group.
They've got if Chicago changed their name and got and added different members, that would no longer be Chicago. That would be a different group.
It's like when Dolph Ziggler was dating Vicky Guerrero and dyed his hair black, and she called him the new and improved Dolph Ziggler. He's not a different person. He's just a different look.
Droid J says totally different. I got to agree with that.
That's your burner account. Come on. I don't believe anyone that would agree with you is actually a real person.
The New Day is a new group. So in that case, I got to say, I think the New Day win the championships because they have all the experience in the world. They've been there before. They've won championships before. They know what to do here, and I think that they're going to bring some life to the tag team division, if I'm being quite honest. The New Day win their first ever championship.
Which one is it? You just said they had won championships before, and now you're saying it's their first championship.
First ever championship for the New Day using their championship experience.
Okay, so it does agree with me here. Yes, Jefferson Starship and Jefferson Airplane were 3 different entities. But so another matchup that is getting some traction on social media.
Who are you picking?
I have the New Day getting their 20,000th reign because to me it's the same lineage.
It doesn't. By the way, this whole 3-man tag teams just should not count. Their lineage is all screwy. I don't.
You hate the Freebirds? Just say it, bro.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm not a Freebird guy either. I agree.
Wow. Of the 2 of us, I thought that you would be the Freebird guy. Okay.
I'm a
Backstreet Atlanta GA.
I'm an NWO guy, but the Wolfpack, when they were doing the
stop. The Wolfpack was superior in Hollywood. You know that.
No, but I mean, like when you're changing out the tag, I'm talking about the tag team. The when it was 6, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Like you can't switch partners out. You got to have the 2 partners. When you switch partners out, you don't count anymore. It's like drilling 3 holes into a bowling ball, or 4th hole for 3 fingers in the bowling ball. It doesn't count anymore. You're DQ'd. You're corking the bat.
You don't have bench players on your team at all?
No, everyone plays.
Rey Mysterio takes on the greatest luchador of all time, El Grande Americano. I'm not surprised they got someone of this caliber at WrestleMania. I'm talking about Grande here. People are saying it's Chad Gable. I don't quite see it. It's Rey versus Grande Americano at WrestleMania.
I've never seen Grande Americano lose. How could I ever pick against him? I mean, Rey Mysterio's done a little bit, for
Fair.
Lucha Libre, but a Grande Americano. Have you seen the AI video package? I mean, if you can't trust AI video packages, what can you trust, Flobo?
Absolutely nothing.
I'm going with El Grande Americano.
What a shame. Hall of Famers losing matches at WrestleMania. But talking about that, we got future Hall of
Who did
Famers.
you pick?
Oh, I didn't pick anyone there. I don't really. I don't. What, people come for your predictions, not mine.
Who did you pick?
I totally have Rey Mysterio win this one by hook and crook.
Oh, so he's going to cheat.
Yes.
You say like J. Jonah Jameson, can't trust a man in a mask.
You can't. You really can't.
What if I think what would be great is though, like an unmasking should happen in this. It'd be great if after El Grande Americano wins, he unmasks Rey Mysterio. What if under Rey Mysterio's mask, he's actually Chad Gable?
That is a terrible idea. That is terrible. You know, WWE has spent 25 years retconning Kevin Nash, unmasking Ray. Of all the things on WCW, they totally cut that out. And you're gonna be like, let's have it just happen at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think so.
Can we move on?
Was Rey Mysterio Chad Gable when Kevin Nash unmasked him?
No.
Maybe.
This is a problem with our society. We accept all conspiracy theories. Talking about matches with conspiracy theories, it was evil Naomi that put Jade Cargill on the shelf, and now the Storm has her chance at Retribution. It's Jade Cargill versus Naomi, straight up 101 at WrestleMania.
I am going to go with Naomi here. I think Naomi's winning this one because I think she was right. Everything she said is true. I think that Bianca or Jade was trying to take her place with Bianca. And you see how quickly her and Bianca got along once Jade was gone. And things were going great after Jade was gone. I think Naomi has been, I gotta say something, right? Naomi has been putting in the best work of her career since this whole thing kicked off. There were times you and I sat back and we talked about her ability on the microphone, and we're like, it's not happening. It's not happening, Naomi. She has shown that she is incredible when she has the opportunity here. And I think that once this is done, Naomi's going to get the win. And then finally, Bianca Belair will be able to exhale and say, thank you, Naomi. I appreciate all you did for me.
Does Bianca make an appearance here, you think?
Not until after her match.
There ain't no way Jade Cargill's losing. There ain't no way. How do you have a tag team? You get beat up, and you're blamed for getting beat up. You show up and lose. Like that to me would be like Matt Hardy losing to Edge levels of what just happened. That would be like Booker T losing to Triple H at WrestleMania as what did happen.
You just gave me 2 examples of how it could happen.
Fair enough. I hated both of those. I don't want that to happen a third time, is what I'm saying.
Naomi, I'm Team Naomi here. I'm Team Naomi. I see the caution tape. I am not crossing Naomi.
Why is caution tape such a thing, right? Owen Hart. Well, anyway, I have Jade Cargill win this one. That's my prediction, Jack.
You're going to feel silly when you're wrong.
I don't know. Well, at least I have one prediction. All right, this one I don't have a prediction on, so you got to help me out here because I can't call this one. The United States Championship was on the line. LA Knight, who was pretty much the Jey Uso of 2024, is defending the title, his second run against the Samoan werewolf Jacob Fatu. You're talking about superstars that had a trajectory. Here is somebody that knocked out Braun Strowman on live TV on NBC a couple months ago at Saturday night's main event. So who do you got here? Is it going to be Jacob? Is it going to be La for the US title shot? The US title at WrestleMania?
Man, this is a tough one to pick. This might be one of the tougher picks of the weekend, actually.
I know.
Man, LA Knight, you're right. The 2024 Jey Uso, he was really something special, still is something special. But Jacob Fatu is just a force of nature. This is Fatu's coronation. I mean, could you imagine no longer stuck on an island of relevancy, but controlling the entire United States? Jacob Fatu, this is he does what no one but has been able to do in the Samoan dynasty since Roman Reigns lost the championship, and that is bring a championship back to the bloodline.
What? Jey Uso?
He's not in the bloodline when he won the championship.
Wait, is Jacob in the bloodline? Because that kind of fizzled out. Like
Him and Solo are still technically bloodline.
Are they still using that brand name? Is what I'm getting at. Is that a new team now, Jack? Huh?
It's new bloodline, but it still counts as bloodline.
Oh, the new bloodline is still. You know what? These rules are Byzantine.
No, but Jacob Fatu, man, he's just there are so many people on the roster in WWE right now that it's bonkers how many absolute stars they have, and Jacob Fatu is next level. He's next level. He's gonna win this championship, and I pray for anyone who's in that division.
Let's talk about a championship match we talked about earlier in this program. It's Tiffany Stratton, it's Charlotte Flair. This one here could be one of the more technical wrestling matches, despite the fact that it has a layer of grudge right on top. Who do you got, Tiffany Stratton or the greatest of all time, the Queen?
Oh, this one is such a you have to win situation for both of them, isn't it? Like, regardless of, because of the way this built up, whoever loses, it's going to be a hard L. Like, it's going to be hard. Like, you look at the way that Charlotte has tried to bully Tiffany Stratton, and if Tiffany Stratton can't stand up to that, what does that do for her future? And I look at Charlotte Flair, and with the things she said and the things she's done, can she bounce back from a Tiffany Stratton beating her? We'll have to find out, because I think Tiffany Stratton gets the win. I think Tiffany Stratton defeats the Queen, and I think that this is her chance to show that it is, in fact, Tiffany time.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Tiffany wins, but not convincingly. I just picture Charlotte doing the whole, like, I can't believe I lost a match. And then Tiffany using that like Rusev did when he beat Orton, Rusev Day. So that's what I'm seeing here as well. Let's talk about that World Heavyweight Championship match. The other side, the other Rumble winner, Jey Uso against the ring general Gunther. You've heard me gripe about this. I miss Walter. I miss having the mat as sacred. Now I'm just stuck with an Austrian guy who just hates people. But that said, this is a chance to really be one that over delivers. Jey Uso against Gunther.
This one, I'm so excited for this one, because this is the one where all the haters get to eat their words. By the way, Haywood Wong in the chat. Good to see you, Haywood.
Haywood.
I've loved this story, and I've loved this build. And I know that you wish you had the old Walter, but I think that Gunther is one of his great strengths. We talk about his chops and we talk about what he's able to do in the ring, but I think Gunther is so good at becoming the rival that you need and becoming the person you need. And he has become the perfect rival to what Jey Uso needs in this situation. And it has allowed Jey Uso to really transcend beyond just being the guy with the catchphrase, beyond just being the guy with the hot entrance, to being someone who can change pace on a microphone. And I think back to that promo he did a couple weeks ago after Jimmy Uso was beaten and bloodied, and it was a different Jey Uso. And I think that is something that Gunther was able to pull out of Jey. And because of that, I think Jey Uso gets the win. And I think that Jey Uso completes his story. And I think that this is really a feel-good, great moment for everybody, unless you're Gunther or Kaiser, because I think they're still friends.
Kaiser.
I think this is a really beautiful moment for Jey Uso, who has earned it. And I think that this is going to be a tough night of eating crow for the IWC.
Tell two texts here. Chef Ricky Sinclair says, Gunther hasn't been the same since Tyler Run, which I wholeheartedly agree with. Goodfella 1422 says, Gunther has carried this. He has evolved to perfection. That said, he will lose. Love it. I do have Gunther retaining here. He just looks like a guy that will have it for a long time. I know I shouldn't automatically assume that every title run's going to be years and years, but if there's one guy that would have years and years of a run, it's that dude. So I do think it's Gunther or Gunther.
Oh, so poor Jay is going to have to pick up the pieces.
Yeah. Our main event.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of has to. I can say yeet. But he takes the month off. He comes back for more SummerSlam. He's fine. Our main event for Saturday night's triple threat match with Paul Heyman on a pole, as you told me affectionately, is Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. All three men have crossed paths many times before. CM Punk finally gets his main event moment at the expense of Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, who had to have a bit of a conscious moment thinking about what happened over the past year. He was on top of the world, and now he's fighting for his own wise men. Thoughts about this one?
Let's talk about a tale of a year and how much can change over the course of that year. This has been probably my favorite story to see unfold. And as we talked about before, some people are not happy with it. Some people are unhappy with the fact that it's three people. Some people are unhappy with the way Seth Rollins talks about how the future of the industry is in peril because of this. But I love every single bit of it. And I think this one comes down to the fourth man. This one comes down to Paul Heyman. And obviously he has alliances with two of these members, and that is at odds. But Paul Heyman is someone who has always looked forward, I've said in the past. Paul Heyman is a band that does not play the hits. He only plays the new stuff. He's always coming out with new albums. He doesn't want to live in the past. He wants to live in the future. And I think that he looks at CM Punk and he says, CM Punk is fantastic, but you know what? I've done that already. I think he looks at Roman Reigns and he says, man, Roman Reigns is one of the greatest of all time, but you know what? I've done that already. I think he looks at Seth Rollins and he says, this is a man who has the guts to try to stomp my face into the mat and tell me I owe him something for it. I think that is the kind of gumption that someone like Paul Heyman looks for. And I think Paul Heyman leaves with Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins wins this match. And as someone who's been a Seth Rollins guy for a very long time, I say finally the architect gets to get back on top of the WWE. Seth Rollins wins the main event, baby.
He hasn't been an architect in years. He was like a whole cult leader after that. The architect, throwback. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I told you last week on Draped in Gold, by the way, go back if you haven't checked it out. Paul Heyman usually works with people and when they're young in their careers, not people who are already made. Although it'd be kind of cool if he brought back like Curtis Axel or Cesaro, right? I don't see it coming, but maybe I'm in the minority. He doesn't want to see the Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman era, if there ever was one.
You always say that, but he always is picking new or established guys. He's always picking.
No, he hasn't. Everyone needs to line himself was on their way up. That's been his MO.
Roman Reigns had main evented multiple WrestleManias before he aligned.
Roman Reigns was the exception because when it happened, it was like, we've never seen this before.
That was on the come up. He was already the guy.
But he was the exception. That's why it was so groundbreaking because we didn't think Paul Heyman would align himself with somebody who's already main evented. But you look at Brock Lesnar, you look at Curtis Axel, you look at Cesaro. These were guys that he thought were going to be the next big thing. Quite like literally. Was he a Paul Heyman guy?
He was.
I have to look that up.
And he also came, I know when Brock Lesnar started, for sure.
Yeah.
Anything, but
yes,
Brock Lesnar came back. He went back to Brock Lesnar and he was already a big
deal.
That
still matters. Like, it still
Same
matters.
Thing with CM Punk.
Look, that matters. All I'm saying is if you're rocking with Seth Rollins now, I'll be disappointed from a character standpoint. I will still watch. I'm just saying, wait a minute.
Then you are a fool because Paul Heyman will never.
Hey.
Paul Heyman, I would tell you right now, Paul Heyman will never again mess with anyone who isn't already a made man. He's done building people up. He's only going to associate himself with the very biggest and the very best in the world. He is no longer going to do this guy's coming from NXT. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. He is only going to align himself with people who are at the very top of the industry. The Curtis Axel days are done.
I hate the fact that Jack called me a fool and no one came to my aid in the chat. Not one of y'all. Excuse me.
They were all like, oh.
he's got a point. Yeah, Well, that is Saturday night at WrestleMania, but of course it's a 2-night event. We got to go over to Sunday. Jack Farmer says Sundays are better. I don't know if I agree or disagree, but he tells me this is the real day for Mania stuff. So let's get to that Women's Tag Team Championship. I can't believe it's going to be on the line at WrestleMania. It's Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez are taking on the makeshift team of Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. Now, Bayley and Lyra had run the gamut this week, the first of two of the tag team divisions. They have all the momentum, but will it be enough for them to walk away with the gold?
No. Liv and Raquel Rodriguez retain. Judgment Day easily retains here. Here's the truth. I love the team of Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. In fact, this is funny. If there was a women's tag team that I think was our pick tag team, it would be Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. Bayley's one of your favorite wrestlers, and I've been a Lyra Valkyria person for
the
years.
Favorite, full stop.
The favorite. So there you go. And I've been a huge supporter of Valkyria since the NXT UK days. So this is like our team, but let's not pretend that Bayley hasn't been on an absolutely vicious losing streak for the past few months. One of the absolute worst in pro wrestling. I mean, we could go 2 years, but I mean, we could talk about like, even the past few months, literally going to every single brand and taking L's back to back to back to back. And Lyra Valkyria, she's the Intercontinental Champion. Don't get me wrong, but she's not exactly had a dominant opportunity. She's been kind of fighting from underneath the whole time. So Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, I think this is going to be easy payday for Judgment Day.
Unfortunately, I agree with you. I used to be against makeshift teams, but it's happened so often. I'm like, whatever. But I don't see this at all. Lyra Valkyria has to establish herself back in her own division. That's women's intercontinental title division. So I don't see them winning it here. Might be a fun little romp on Sunday, but it probably won't amount to much. Mm-hmm. So it's about amounting to much. AJ Styles, who's now a good guy again after being a villain for like a couple months, has a match against Logan Paul, who's going to be a villain for the rest of his career because ain't nobody cheering that guy. Talk about things that could steal the show. There's no titles on the line, but we know, much like Cena, AJ is pretty much winding down his career, and Logan Paul is that X factor. Whenever a pay-per-view or PLE needs a boost, they bring out Logan. This could be a barn burner there, Jack.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those ones that we say could steal the show just because these are two of the most exciting in-ring performers in the world right now. And I know a lot of people, they cringe when I say that about Logan Paul, but come on, let's just be real. He's one of the best in-ring performers we're going to be seeing WrestleMania week. This is going to be a fun one. And I think that Logan Paul is going to walk away with the win here for all the reasons you said, but also Logan Paul wins. He's good unless he's up there against like one of the world champions. And AJ Styles been one, but it's been a little bit since AJ Styles has been that guy. Karrion Kross trying to bring that guy out of him, but I don't think it was enough. And I think Logan Paul gets the win.
Karrion Kross, the ska of the roster. What is he doing? Like, does he have a job?
I know what you're trying to say, but Sami Zayn is the ska of the roster.
I hate them both. What is Karrion Kross doing? And he actually lost on Monday. So is he done? Like what's going on with this guy?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Karrion Kross tried to bring the best out of AJ, and AJ is great, but Logan Paul, he doesn't need someone to bring the best out of him. Logan Paul, it wakes up in the morning and is at his best.
I do want AJ Styles to win. I do see AJ Styles winning, but if someone told me to put money down, it would be Logan Paul. Like, you gotta put the money on the young stud, as it were, unfortunately. And his stupid podcast, by the way. Too many ads on his podcast. Okay. So we talked about
you know what we'll never have? People who financially support us.
That's right. We would never have people support us with ads.
Anyways, use promo code Flobito at SeatGeek.
Right. Yeah, use SeatGeek. Use promo code Flobito. We're just awful. Our fatal four-way Intercontinental Championship we mentioned before. It's Penta, it's Dominic Mysterio, it's Finn Balor, and the incumbent champ Braun Breaker. The whole social media world was set on fire with that absolute launch missile of a spear that Braun did to Carlito. If anyone has momentum, it'll be the champ. But there's no champion's advantage in Fatal 4-Ways. Jack, what do you got?
I think in this, obviously this is a chaotic matchup, and obviously there's going to be a lot of drama with Judgment Day. But it's very easy to pick new champions in chaos, but Braun Breaker here, I think, finds a way to just run through everyone. Do I think that Judgment Day will be in pieces afterwards? Absolutely. Do I think that Penta will have earned himself a one-on-one match down the road? Absolutely. But I still think that Braun Breaker walks away with the championship and still the Intercontinental Champion.
Hey, do you think Braun Breaker is kind of like the ultimate warrior of his day? That a generation coming up will be like, I remember Braun Breaker? He was so crazy and unhinged. Or will he, do you think he'll have that same kind of staying power?
I do, because I think every generation has one of those. I think I would say Goldberg was the ultimate warrior of the next generation, and so
Oh.
I think there usually is a ultimate warrior esque kind of force of nature kind of character, and yeah, I could see that absolutely.
I do have Braun retaining here, him and his tan. I like all the players. I like Penta, but I'm not sure if Penta needs a title right now. He should have one. I'm not saying he shouldn't get one, but I do think there's still a bit of novelty to milk before he's like, hey, when are you getting gold, Penta? That'll be this weekend. So we'll see. Talking about stipulations, this one here is a Sin City Street Fight. It's Damian Priest against Drew McIntyre, and I will never lament wrestling on WrestleMania weekend, but this one here does kind of feel like it should be a Monday after Mania situation. Jack, what do you make of this? Who do you got, Priest or McIntyre?
Yeah, these guys are going to have these guys are going to have a really hard hitting, fun one, and this one could be one of those ones similar to I think back to I believe it was L.A. when it was Sheamus, Drew, and Gunther for the Intercontinental title, where it's just so hard hitting that everyone gets into it. But you're right; it doesn't feel like I don't know. Feels like there could be more to it. That said, it's a street fight. It's gonna be fun. I think it's going to be very brutal. I think that Drew McIntyre wins. I think Drew McIntyre is bigger. He's stronger. I think that he wants to win more. He needs to win more. And I just go with the Scottish psychopath.
Priest has to win this one because you can't tell me over the past year, like, I'm from the streets, but I survived and lose a street fight, then I won't believe you at all. I will never believe you ever again if you lose what should be your signature matchup, right?
That's why I never have street fights.
Oh, that's why you don't have street fights. Street champ just sleeves. How'd you win the championship then if you don't have street fights?
That's a long story. We don't have time to get into it.
We do. We're at an hour and a half, man. We got all the time.
Yeah. We got to wrap. We got to wrap.
Talking about the triple threat women's title match for the World Heavyweight Championship. It's Io Sky. People thought she was forgotten, but Draped in Gold says Io Sky is pretty cool against both Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. Rhea took the loss to Io about a month ago pretty handedly and decisively. So I know she wants to get that gold back, but Bianca could be the X factor. Thoughts about this one?
Yeah, this could go a lot of different ways. My heart says I want EO to win, but I think that if I'm picking the winner, that I am going with the person who has never lost a match in WrestleMania history, and that is Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair, the new Undertaker, the unbeatable at WrestleMania. I think that Bianca Belair continues her unbeaten streak at WrestleMania. She continues to be unstoppable. She continues to be the EST. She wins the championship, and her and Naomi celebrate after a great weekend.
The new Undertaker is Bianca. It's got a cool image. But I'm with you. She has like the longest active streak, so I see that as well. I like Bianca. I do think that she doesn't need the title. I do think with the whole Naomi Jade thing, there may be a chapter there. But Io Sky, man, here's somebody we loved in NXT. We do love Io Sky. I think she retains here this weekend. Myself,
I got a question for you. What's more what's more unnerving if you went at 2K and you had Bianca Belair do the Undertaker's entrance, or if you had the Undertaker do Bianca Belair's entrance?
Like, where would Undertaker's ponytail be? It's like super thin. Would it be one of those like I'm on my own against the world? Like it'd be weird. I never needed you at all.
I think I answered that question's answered clearly. It's Undertaker doing Bianca Belair.
Oh man, because Bianca will probably bring like a whole band out for the Graveyard Symphony, you know. But yeah, Taker doing Bianca's lyrics with a ponytail.
Yeah, could you imagine though? He comes out like with the band, like she did for her WrestleMania entrance, but it's like, or she does, but it's like the sad Undertaker music.
Yeah, some kids like dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be the '98 one, the one the dun, 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 you know. So dumb. We're the dumbest podcast ever, but I love
Yes,
it.
we are. We are.
Speaking of things that are not dumb, our main event, man, Cody Rhodes has a whole company on his back and a new podcast. He's competition, Patooey, against John Cena, the greatest of all time, but he has a bit of a mean streak these days. Again, no Rock, no problem. It's Cody against John Cena for the WWE Undisputed Championship.
I always talk about how there are certain people I just don't bet against because they win all the time. And Cody Rhodes finds a way to win all the time. Torn pec, no big deal. I'm going to win. You know, surprise debut, no big deal. I'm going to win. Guy who's had the championship for 1,000 years, no big deal. I'm going to win. Cody Rhodes always finds a way to win. However, no one has won that championship more than John Cena will have won it after WrestleMania when John Cena wins it again at WrestleMania 41, breaking the record and cementing himself as the greatest of all time. And you know what? Maybe even The Rock will help him do it the same way all the people came and helped Cody Rhodes back in the day by running in and helping him the old-fashioned way.
I don't see it. I think if there's a rematch, that Cena wins that rematch, probably at the Backlash. But after having Cody go through WrestleMania 39 to win at WrestleMania 40, I could definitely see Cody pulling a John Cena and winning this one out of absolutely nowhere.
Well, it's more of a, Randy Orton to do something out of nowhere. But I guess it would be nice if Cody Rhodes had a long 3,000-day reign like Roman Reigns did.
No.
I get where you're coming from, but there have already been 16 times that people are like, well, John Cena can't win this time. And he does. He wins it. He wins it all the time. I don't pick against people who win all the time. I am picking John Cena. I guess I want Cody Rhodes to win. I'm a Cody Rhodes fan. In fact, if it was my way, I'd have Cody Rhodes get the win. But you know what? You can't deny history. John Cena is going to cement himself as the greatest of all time. And everyone who booed him along the way, everyone who said Cena sucks along the way, everyone who is exactly what John Cena says they are out in Belgium, where he said, you people, like that kid, you're all going to realize that you should have jumped on the John Cena train when you had the chance. Now it's leaving the station. After 20 years, guess what? It's gone. John Cena wins.
Roman Reigns was the undisputed champion, or at least some variation of that, because he had the Universal Championship first for 1,316 days. So that 3,000 days to my broadcast colleagues thing. But he's right. I mean, you have two guys who don't lose. You have two guys that are pretty good at winning against all odds. And now they're on a collision course. So I can't wait for that. I understand why that's Sunday. That is a true main event. Even though John Cena didn't win the Royal Rumble, that is something that's worthy of a main event match slot. Personally,
I agree. I think this is what we want to see. This is the main event. This is the top, the show closer. Do you think The Rock gets involved? I think he does.
The Rock has to. I don't know what his schedule is, because I know there was problems with the UFL and his skincare line, which is called Papa Nui, and his tequila Terramana, and his other brand Project Rock he has a lot of business opportunities, but you can't bring him back and have him be the through line, being like, remember several months ago where I gave that thing, I want your soul? No? Okay, here's my weapon, and then bye. Like, there has to be something there. I'm just not sure what it's going to be, though.
Nope. I think he comes in, hits a rock bottom, and helps John Cena win. I think it's that simple. And then I think he does.
Oh, of course. Yeah, the goosebumps. There's a part of me thinking he could do that on cue. He's probably waiting at the DMV. Yeah, the goosebumps. Goodfellas says this. Seeing the new music and gear is also needed. Unless it's basic thugonomics, it's too late now. It's way too late to have something new. Def Rebel will get booed out of the building at WrestleMania if you got a new theme, brother.
Could you imagine how terrible a Def Rebel theme would be for John Cena?
Yeah.
Right now?
Did you hear Thea Hales today? It starts off, I am a grown woman. I'm like, what? What? That's the most dumbest intro to a song ever. And we grew up with the hurricane. Stand back. There's a hurricane coming.
Well, it's almost as bad as it's not my fault.
Yeah. Oh, it's Nitty.
Yeah, yeah. It's
You know?
like what? Like, okay, dude, that you made that your whole life.
Yeah. Then he shaved his head and painted his teeth yellow. What was going on in wrestling, man?
That was weird. He booted a baby into the crowd once.
It wasn't a real baby, guy. It wasn't real. I swear, it wasn't a real baby.
Can you confirm that?
I feel like there's some kids who are like 21 or younger being like, does this really happen in wrestling? Yeah, it did. Wrestling was a weird time, man.
Yeah, it was very weird. Very weird.
So let me talk about GTV. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we don't have time for that either.
WrestleMania is going to be both Saturday and Sunday, and of course, a lot of events happening in Vegas. With the Hall of Fame on Friday, the WrestleMania After Darks, the Roast of WrestleMania, and of course, other satellite events. We talked about this at the top of the show, Jack. What do you get yourself involved in when you head out there this week?
So the most important thing I'm doing is Thursday at 11 a.m. and Thursday at 11:59 p.m. I am going to be hosting. I'm going to be doing commentary for Defy Wrestling and Progress Wrestling. And man, I am actually really jazzed about some of the matches I get to call during these shows. I get to call Midnight Heat versus the Rock and Roll Express. If you had told young Jack Farmer that I would call a Rock and Roll Express match, I would have been like,
the actual Rock and Roll Express or like a cover band, a cover group?
The actual. It's not the new Rock and Roll Express. It's the Rock and Roll Express.
I have questions. They're valid questions.
I mean, yeah, no, it's totally fair. I get to call a Nina Samuels match, and as you know, I'm a huge Nina Samuels fan from the NXT UK days. Needs more Nina, but there's just so many. Kenta versus Mance Warner is going to happen. Lots of them, lots of big matches.
Oh yeah, I'm going to Vegas too. I'm going to have a pretzel. So take that. Okay.
You should come to the shows. I'll say hello to you. We'll meet.
Support Jack Farmer? I would never. Are you kidding? And you have 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. What are you doing between those times? A nap? Like what's going on?
I'm gonna hit the strip, baby. I'm betting it all. I'm gonna come back either looking really good or really disheveled. Broadcast Corbin's not gonna have anything on Jack Farmer, baby. Let's go. But I am going to be after that. I'm going to feel the city, Flobo. This is I'm going without a plan. I'm going to feel the city and find out where I fit in. What's going to happen? That's what I'm going to do. What about you? You're going to be there.
Yeah, I got tickets to actual WrestleMania, so I'm going to have a GoFundMe when I get back. That's the most thing. But I don't have any satellite events because I feel like if I plan those, I get super tired and I don't go. So I'm usually going to hang out on Friday and just get pulled wherever the wind takes me. I'm going to do Hall of Fame. I'm going to do Hall of Fame Friday night and then WrestleMania Saturday and Sunday. Hopefully, if I get some energy to do Stand Deliver, but there's no guarantee.
I will find a way into Mania, whether it be spend $100,000 on a back row ticket or sneaking in. I don't know what else.
The prices are coming down. You can't sneak in Allegiant. It's like basically it's built like Alcatraz. It's like off the freeway. It's like recessed. They will see you coming for yards.
Well, listen, Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery's got nothing on me when it comes to breaking into Alcatraz, baby. It's The Rock, and I'm going to get into it.
Oh, you're going to try your best. Well, you should know what I'm talking about your best.
It's The Rock.
So we got something to chat about the whole Randy Orton situation. So Randy Orton and Nick Aldis are kind of at each other's throats. The question becomes, with Kevin Owens on the shelf, will Randy Orton have a new opponent for WrestleMania? I say yes. Will it be Nick Aldis? I say no. Jack, what do you think about the situation?
I want to see Randy Orton have a match at WrestleMania. So I'd love to see something happen. And Nick Aldis, we all know, like, he's a legend. I mean, a legend, but like, he's great. One of the longest, a very long reign as the NWA champion. And I mean, really long. You take out a very small chunk of time that Cody Rhodes had in between his reigns. But so I know, like, on paper, I get it. That would be a good matchup. But, and this is me maybe being a little bit of a nerd. The character he plays on TV is a GM. You know what I mean? Like, is that really a Randy Orton level WrestleMania opponent for him to have? You know, like, if if this was Adam Pearce, would we have the same energy, or would we be like, I mean, Adam Pearce is also a former NWA champion, incredible
Scrap
guy,
daddy.
but again, the character he's played on TV is a suit. You know, like, is that a if this was Backlash or whatever, but oh, this is cool, but is this really a WrestleMania opponent for Randy Orton, one of the top names in the company?
I don't disagree with you because of the timing. Had Kevin Owens been injured in February, you could have built this to be like, oh my gosh, this is, yeah, the suit could come down and beat Randy Orton's ass. But if you're going to throw Aldis onto a match, I'm not even knocking WrestleMania, just bad timing. But if you're going to throw Aldis into a match, it shouldn't be the day before an event. It should be something to say, we're actually doing this a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. So I don't want to see that. Not for WrestleMania, not this weekend, wherever the pay-per-view or PLE was going to be. But I will say it is kind of a theme in wrestling we go back to all the time of wrestlers taking on suits, right? That's kind of a thing. The Authority, Austin McMahon, the powers that be, creative control. Remember that group?
Right, but at least then it's usually the suit has the deck stacked in their favor, where Randy Orton, again, he's like one of the most dangerous people in WWE right now. And again, I know who Nick Aldis is. I know he can wrestle. I know on paper, if you put these guys in a ring, it's
the fictional
fine.
character on SmackDown, Nick Aldis, is a pencil pusher.
Yeah. Right. That's where I go. To your point, yeah, if we had some time, I know they could get there. But yeah, as of now, it's just like, hey, this pencil pusher is going to have a match with Randy Orton. And it's not, if it's anything more than 5 minutes, I'm going to be like, well, what?
Yeah.
Like,
it's a tough thing because as a wrestling fan, like a hardcore fan, like, oh yeah, but I can imagine bringing like a casual friend to WrestleMania. Is like, why is he fighting? Well, he didn't pay a fine, and then
yeah,
he got really mad, and you know how it goes. No, I know.
I mean, I don't know what other options they have, but I do want to see Randy Orton wrestle at WrestleMania, and that's probably what it's going to be, and I'm sure it'll work out great. It's just on paper, and it's not their fault. Like, obviously, something happened, but I mean, I would much rather get someone different if they could, but I don't know. I don't even know who it would be. You know, it'd be great if they could get like a legend to come back, or someone who at least has the appearance, like maybe an Omos, like if, you know, or something. If they did something like that, where they could have something like that felt bigger.
There is nobody I can think of that has a grudge with Orton that you could just plug in with no build, except for Cena, but he's busy that weekend.
I think Solo might be an option, but
okay,
I'm not saying.
No, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this because I would be. I'm like, you know what? Solo had the most thankless job. The bloodline was decimated. You were the head of the new bloodline. People hated you. They had to do a marquee match for the Netflix Raw, so you went up against Roman Reigns. You're losing Ulafala. You should get rewarded with a WrestleMania matchup, and it makes sense. But I can tell you, if that's ever announced, people are going to be like, "Oh, it's Solo. Forget it."
Yeah, no, you're right. And you're right on all accounts. You kind of reminded me that Solo actually should have an opportunity, but you're right. Like, but at the same time, I think Solo would probably be a more realistic, more smooth response than Aldis.
Sure, I'm with that. Yeah, sorry, I had a Solo rant. I like Solo. He was an actual street champ, and that was a person.
Well, who wasn't? Damian Priest.
No. Actually, I think he has more credibility because he's actually in a street fight this weekend. Where's your street fight, Jack? Where?
I already won it. It's done.
You know, if WrestleMania is someplace, well, you didn't. Wait a minute. If WrestleMania is someplace cool, we should probably do a live Draped in Gold. I'm not sure if that would be even something people will show up to, but it'd be kind of fun to do it live. Do it live.
It would be fun, and anyone who's going to be there, if we run into each other, I'd love to say hello.
Yeah, I mean, all right. So that's what they say, the kids. Okay. So as we said on the top of the show, Draped in Gold is going to go on a bit of a nighttime run next couple of weeks. Of course, we're getting out this week for WrestleMania, but following Wednesday and Wednesdays thereafter, after AEW Dynamite, it will be an all wrestling review show of the week in grappling arts and sciences. Jack will be there if he's not being signed by somebody way more important than I am, but I'll definitely be there. We want you to be there as well.
Yes, absolutely. And so again, please like, comment, share, subscribe, get the word out. I would love to have more of you guys here and be a part of the chat and be a part of the conversation.
Well, in the meantime, though, what are you working on? Where people find you? How can they interact with the man Jack?
The best thing to do is follow me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. Again, I will be in Las Vegas. I'm heading over tomorrow, and I will be there through Monday. So if you are there, come say hello.
Okay. Why'd you say that?
I don't know.
Well, I'll be in Las Vegas too. Probably not as anywhere cool as Jack's doing. Probably doing all the tourist stuff, losing my shirt on the Vegas Strip. You can follow me at Flobo Boyce on that blue sky and X, and my sports blog is called justasandwich.com. New content is there every week. Thank you so much for checking it out. Got myself a new subscriber this week, so thank you so much for joining the group. It wasn't you though. It was not you. You did not subscribe. I'm just looking at you. It's free.
Oh.
It's free. Justasandwich.com is free, and you haven't subscribed. I'm just.
Oh, are you talking to me? Or are you talking to the chat?
No, I'm talking to you, free champ. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Anyway,
no, I'm going to.
Yeah, as you said last time. All right, so we'll be back next Wednesday.
Subscribe to Just a Sandwich.
Do it. What do you? Sorry, I got to become my actual show is all messed up. We'll be back next Wednesday after AEW Dynamite to break down the best of wrestling. But my friend, until that time, please say the words.
Do your best and be yourself.
Subscribe.